Big Boy Neighborhood. All righty, man. This is my pleasure to have this man in the neighborhood, man. Jason Mitchell is in the neighborhood.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the neighborhood, man.
What's cracking?
Man, you like we were talking off air, man. You're always, anytime I see you, and even people saying how you check in on social media, like your energy is always good.
Yeah, man. I try to, stay as much as a real person as I can.
Right. So when are you fake?
On TV.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Like, when it calls, like, man, I'm not really from the Chi. You know what I'm saying? That's just the role that I'm playing. Let me tell you, bro, and I've hit you with this before, man. The Chi is my favorite show. And I was even hitting up Lena, like, you guys are taking too long to bring my season back. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, but man, season 2 of the Chi is going down, man. And out the gate, it is amazing.
Yeah, it's dope. It's dope. And I really like it because it's important for me I feel like to tell an authentic story.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's really important for me also to tell stories about black people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And where we come from and what it's really like. You know what I mean?
Yes,
in season
sir.
1, it had a couple of holes in it, and you got to get a real G pass before you just shoot everywhere in Chicago. People was like, oh, they was on the west side. It was supposed to be the south side.
Right. Yeah, like, that story ain't right there.
Right. But with things like that, though, it was like they started filling in all the gaps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we were shooting on 79th Street, and some people was like, we love y'all.
Man.
What y'all got Eazy-E out here for?
Yeah. Like,
You know what I mean? Right.
what the hell?
Right. People just screaming out their windows in the middle of the take. Easy.
Hey, man, now season 1,
good.
were y'all shooting the Chi a lot in Chicago? Or was it? Okay.
Yeah. But it was like mostly just on the west side. You know what I mean? Because, geographically, it's hard to pull off something like that. And everybody has to stay safe and things like that.
Right,
so,
right.
That's the number one priority.
People walking in the shot, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Hey, man, did you see when my
election?
man walked into the R. Kelly press conference?
He was from Chicago.
Yeah, exactly. He walked in like, man, I got to go get my ID, man. Fuck what you talking about. I was like, right, man.
Exactly.
Like,
You ain't stopping me.
Hold on.
Yeah, man.
Right. And
You was like, man, I'm glad we wrapped the season because this dude need his ID.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, shit, I'm going this way.
Yeah. So now season 2, you guys took the so-called feedback or?
Yeah. We definitely did. You know what I mean? And we heard each other as artists, but then we also heard the people.
Yeah,
you know what I
man.
mean? Like the people were very engaged. They loved the show. And I think we got a really good feedback. You know what I mean? Because they held it off till April, I think, to give us a better chance to be like on the Emmy stage and be, considered with some of these really great people.
Right.
Yeah,
You know what I
man.
mean?
And you guys, like I say, the Chi is great. And I did want to ask, how did people in Chicago feel about that? And you just kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
Yeah, they loved it.
Because I was born in Illinois, but I'm home plate Los Angeles. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and my whole life.
Right.
So watching it, I'm like, oh man, they on. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And there's something that you'll say, okay, well, just coming out doing things right in front of your house, okay. But overall, I was like, man, so I just wanted to see what people in Chicago felt about that.
They really liked it. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
The first couple of days, they definitely threatened us and was like, this better not be like that Chirac shit. We like,
Oh, yeah, man.
Not
God.
like Chirac at all.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They was like, they definitely let us know how they felt about it. You know what I mean? Because
How did you get that role? Do you still have to? Does Jason Mitchell have to audition for the Chi, or did they want the Jason Mitchell type and got Jason Mitchell?
Yeah, Lena and I actually, it's so crazy because I met her at the AFI Awards, right? And she always got some dope outfit on.
Yeah,
Whatever.
hell yeah.
Yes, she does.
Or her
didn't
hair
know
And
or
Lena rocks
something.
something, you be like, man, I want that outfit.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
And it
saying?
was like bandana, but white.
Yeah, man.
And it was like, I don't know, it was a lot going on, but it was dope. So I was like, yo, I don't really know you, but you mind if I get a picture with you? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I didn't know who she was and nothing like that.
Right.
Totally beginning of my career. This
Because
is right after
then
Straight Outta Compton.
I wouldn't have known then either. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I know Lena more because I'm really on the Chi. Well, not on there
Right.
because she made me audition twice and didn't give me the part.
Wow.
But
how
other
dare
than that,
she?
you know what I'm saying? So you just was intrigued.
Right, yeah. So, I stopped her. We took a picture. And she was like, I'm a writer. And I'm a really big fan of yours. I thought you did a great job in Straight Outta Compton. And, if God says the same, we'll work together one day. And I was like, well, let's, touch and agree on it right now. So right there, we grabbed hands, we prayed, we said a quick little prayer on the step and
Wow.
repeat. And I mean, look at us now. You know
That's
what I mean?
awesome.
That's how I need
Yeah.
to do it. I need to start praying at the step and repeat.
That's
Right,
exactly.
Try to get myself back into Hollywood.
Let him use you.
Yeah,
Next time you
man.
see her big, pray with her.
Yeah. Now I
Let's see if
know.
it
She'll be
works.
like, you talk with Jason. I saw the footage. Ain't no damn
This ain't
job
gonna work
with me.
for you.
How do you feel about the script week to week? Because that's the Shy, and it's like you here today, gone tonight.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's people that I'd be like, man, oh damn, he died. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man.
You know, it was crazy because especially when I started reading season 2, right? Because you know Brandon just can't catch a break.
Yeah,
You know what I
man.
mean? And
I know.
and like Lena reached out, you know, for the role, but I still did have to do like sort of an audition piece. You know what I mean?
Right,
to like,
right.
You know, make sure the producers and everybody was on board, right? So I did the eulogy scene, you know, and so I'm like doing all this crying and all that, and that's the first episode, and it kind of like starts Brandon's life off in a mess, right? So season 2, first episode, I'm like, I get robbed.
Yeah, man.
Food truck.
My best
Yeah.
friend, I get robbed. Oh,
You know what's the
man,
truth though?
crazy.
It's like when you pulling, I'm like, yeah, all right, cool.
Right.
And I'm like, soon as I saw you step out, I was like, he about to get robbed.
Right.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
like
I'm
you
like,
feel it. You're
ah.
like, no.
And sure enough, they kept it real because you got robbed.
Right.
I'm
exactly.
like, man, but you know, you feel for Brandon with everything that's going down.
Right.
You get this attachment. So when
Right.
I'm seeing you making tacos, I'm like, yeah. And I see you getting your money on, I'm like, man, he's living his. Wait,
Yeah.
damn, his dream turned into a nightmare.
Right,
Hold on for a
right.
second.
Up,
They done stole the truck.
truck.
You know what I'm saying? Like man.
Like it don't even go that
And then it
fast.
got worse. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
well, we got the insurance. You're like,
No.
as soon as you pause, I was like, uh-oh.
about that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Baby girl, sit down real quick. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying?
Forgot to do that part.
Yeah.
But the
I was
food
going to do
was
all
good.
that
The
next
tacos
week.
were
You
good.
know?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
but-
And I think what makes this show so beautiful though is things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The fact that people stay human. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
man.
They're not superheroes. You know,
Right.
like you love these people and then hate these people. You know what I mean? Like, why would you do something that stupid? And I think that's what we making a great show. Like
Yeah,
people
you
see
guys
me and be
are.
like, "You better get back with Jericho."
Yeah, you know, living the life. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Looking
Like,
at you.
like, don't even call you Jason. Brandon.
Right. Exactly.
taco.
Exactly.
Now, but you're a
Exactly.
chef on the show. Can you cook in real life?
I can. I can
That's
get down.
crazy,
I can
man.
get down.
What's your specialty dish that you can make?
Charboiled oysters.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Wait,
about the
wait.
oysters.
Because you worked with oysters
What?
before?
Yes.
Where
yes.
did you
Those are
work
bomb,
in
man.
and making them?
I worked at Drago's and I worked at this other place called Mr. Ed's Oyster Bar, but
I didn't
I was
go to that
also
one.
like sort of in business for myself because you know
Really
in New
though?
Orleans you
Yeah.
can just go set up shop.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Oysters, girl.
I love
All out in the sun.
oysters.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
You know my son got sick. Like, oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, my bad.
You want some more oysters?
So oysters is your thing.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How do you make a charboiled oyster? Because I've had them in New Orleans, and that's the first time I've ever had them. My dad used to make them for me, like in a barbecue style.
Right.
But in New Orleans, they make it with like cheese, so good. I went to
Oh,
Acme
man.
Oyster Bar.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my
See,
gosh.
Acme is the competition.
Yeah.
Really though.
Acme is my man. They're
That's like you
Those
going to the
kill
other.
Jason Mitchell. He's too good.
That's like you go to the other station. Be like, ah.
Right,
I
exactly.
was so skeptical about these oysters because I eat them the Mexican way, which is we eat them raw with lemon, salt, and either tapatio or whichever type of salsa you want.
Right.
So it was the first time that I was
Damn, I
having
guess
like
I've
a
been
hot
eating it the
oyster
Mexican
like
way
that.
too. Then.
yeah, that's the best
and
way
you
to
just
eat
chug
it.
them
Right.
down.
Yeah.
But they're so good. So how do you make them?
Well,
You know
the
what?
secret.
Forget. Let's go.
right, exactly.
I love
Now, how do you make
Exactly.
them?
Well, I make it on the half shell, right? And then I have like a butter garlic sort of. If I tell you, I gotta kill you recipe, right?
Oh my gosh.
But then I'd use like a Parmesan Romano cheese, and then if I want to get fancy, maybe you use like blue cheese crumbles. Or
That
put,
sounds good.
like a jalapeno on it. Sometimes bacon bits. Like I mean, you can fill it however.
Hey
you
man,
want
he
to
got
fill it,
everybody
right?
here like,
No.
Right, exactly.
We ain't said nothing about your acting.
Yeah.
You like, no.
Yeah, but you know
Yeah.
what's so special about oysters to me is
So
like,
delicious.
Expensive
like
though.
right,
Yeah,
yeah.
you gotta have a homie hook up.
You gotta
Yeah.
know your type too.
You probably was in business with like somebody like, man, we dropped 11 crates off over there. We got one
Right.
crate for you. Oh, okay,
Right,
cool.
right. And it's good because like I think food is just it's really a window to the soul. You know what I mean? And it's really a great icebreaker. It's all these
Yeah,
different
man.
things that make people come together, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like
Guys.
weed, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so like for people who had never had an oyster, I could be that milestone that changed their life. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right,
like I
right.
get to change
Like,
your
try
life
this.
right now. Right.
Yeah.
You don't like oysters? Try
this.
You know what,
You know
I
what I'm
mean?
saying?
And
Yeah.
yeah. And I live for instant gratification.
And then
You know, so seeing that in
we'd go
somebody is
somewhere
like,
else,
yeah.
be like, man, this ain't the Jason Mitchell.
Yeah.
Do you
Like
do you
this.
have a specific type of oyster that you like outside of a charboiled oyster? So I have my favorite.
What's yours?
I didn't know
The,
there was
I love the
different
kumi
types.
eye.
You like,
Kumi
who?
eye?
Kumiai.
Well, yeah, they have a bunch of different oysters from
So
different places, but like
I'm an oyster connoisseur. Like,
Right,
trust, I
right,
know them
right.
by name.
Right.
Like a cold water oyster versus a warm water, East
Damn.
Coast, West Coast. Like,
Yeah.
they taste
let's stop all
different.
this East Coast,
Yeah,
West
man.
Coast.
Also, size
I
matters.
know, but
Together.
come
Right?
on now.
As they
trying
get
to unite.
smaller, they get
Yeah,
sweeter.
this girl, man. We weren't
trying to
trying
tell
to bring
you.
you into this. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You sit
Yeah.
down in the interview. She
I'm
bring
over
up the East
here,
Coast, West
oyster
Coast.
gang banging.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Sorry.
Y'all stick around y'all radios. We got Jason Mitchell in the neighborhood. Start getting hot with the hat on. Huh?
Right. Yeah. This new brand actually is so dope, man.
What is
because
it?
It's here.
Yeah.
I brought this card.
All right. Yeah. he don't know what it is. They're like,
Right?
man, put this in
They
your
also
pocket.
sent me this wallet. No, it's called PRSVR, right?
Uh-huh.
And it's super dope to me because when they started this whole like bashing the things for blackface, right?
Right.
I thought it would make more sense for us to lead by example.
Yeah,
you know what I
man.
mean? And if we want to like see our designers do better,
Yeah.
just wear their stuff.
If we gonna
Yeah.
so-called
Support
ban
them.
them, buy them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Easy call.
Exactly. That's
Easy
why
call.
I made it my business. to wear this.
There it is. Hello.
Take it out for some
Hello.
Yeah, they made this jacket. I'm like, oh, that's lit.
And what's the name of the company again?
I don't want to get this
Damn it,
wrong
this
for everybody.
I think
Right?
it's,
I don't want to get this wrong. PRSVR.
PRSVR.
PRSVR. Yeah. But you know Gucci name like that. This guy.
You know.
Black man. No, y'all stick around your radios. We got Jason Mitchell in the neighborhood, Big Boy
Big
neighborhood.
Boy.
Do you think you get recognized most for Straight Outta Compton?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's a trip because people would be like, hey, look at Eazy-E and King Kong.
Yeah. I love you, Easy.
Yeah.
You know it's a trip, man.
It's a
Being from the West Coast and holding and knowing Eazy-E and holding Eazy-E so dear to me, bro.
And what he
I
meant.
thought, and what he means to us. You know what I'm saying? I thought that you did a wonderful job
Phenomenal.
Thank you.
playing
Yes,
Eazy-E,
you did.
man.
Thank you.
Like, and just the whole world coming together, making sure that Dre and Q was a part of it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And how authentic it felt.
Right.
Man, and knowing a lot of the stories and even the stories that I did know, seeing the take on them and actually visualizing some of the stuff, man, where that was something that you could have taken on, and if it wasn't accepted, it would have been a whole different situation.
Yeah, I mean, I could have did that, but then I just could have like not came back to LA.
Yeah, but even like I thought that with Demetrius and doing the Pac movie, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like when I saw All Eyes on Me, I couldn't wait for the world to see that.
Right.
And I felt like they killed that on the vine. You know what I'm saying? We didn't let it
Yeah.
get his legs. People came out the gate
So
disrespecting it.
judgmental.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Pac is untouchable, but I felt the same way about Easy. And I thought that Demetrius Shipp Jr. did such a great job
did.
playing Pac. And others are beg to differ as far as like the whole thing. But when I saw you do Easy, I was like, man, how did they find Jason Mitchell?
Well, they did a worldwide search.
Right.
And
Because I remember just how long it was taking them. But it felt like when they were talking about it, finding someone. And that was like, Eazy-E had to be that guy that put the whole movie together.
yeah,
as far
I think
as
I was like one of 7,000 people.
Were you? Is it true that you didn't have enough money to fly out for the audition?
Definitely true.
Damn.
That's
How'd
crazy.
you
So
how'd
you
end
did
up
it
getting
by
the money.
Yeah, I did it over Skype. Well, I sent
Oh,
in
wow.
a tape first, right? And then they called me back and they were like, "Yeah, we'd love you to fly to LA tomorrow." And I'm like,
Well, that's nice,
happen.
but
"My bank account's set up." You know what I'm saying? You know, I can't just be bouncing.
You like L.A., huh?
Right.
Is that Louisiana? Like, where's L.A.? Is there periods in that? Like, what L.A. you talking about? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So, they called me back in like 30 minutes, and they were like, "Gary would love to Skype with you." F. Gary Gray, the
Yes.
director. So I'm like, okay, so I'm like, look, let me go. I went back to the office and was like, we need the hardwire joint. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Let me
not the-
use y'all internet. Like,
Yeah, you know what I'm
give me
saying?
the one with the tower. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why I was like, I can't do this at the house, right?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
So I go there, and I'm not even gonna pretend like I don't know how long it was. It was an hour and 17 minutes. We Skyped, right? So I'm doing these like crying scenes and all of this. And he's telling me like, just breathe. And like the butterflies are leaving my stomach, right?
Right.
And then he's like, are you okay? But when he said that, it was like in this super soft voice and my eyes was closed, right? So I just bust out laughing. You know what I mean? So all these voices start laughing and I could just see his head going back and forth on Skype. Like, I'm like, who else is in that room.
Oh man.
Yeah, so here it is. I'm like pouring my heart out. There's everybody in this room just
You don't
yeah.
know. Looking at the screen.
Right. Right. Biggest audition of my life. It was a trip.
What did you do to prepare for that audition?
You know, I was already such a fan, right? But I figured that like I had to start in his household. I had to like have some sort of opinion on everything around him. You know what I mean? So like I reached out to people, like all of that. You know what I mean? Like EB and Tracy and Lil Eazy. All these people had full-fledged conversations with me by the time I touched California.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, man.
Super serious.
When you're sitting there and you're doing the audition by Skype,
Yeah.
it's also dope of them to see the vision because
Yes.
were you wearing the Jerry curl wig or were you wearing Levi's or?
Let me tell you about that, right? So I got sunglasses, wig, hat, everything. And they like, oh, that's cute. We'll take a picture and let them know that you'll go all the way out, but you got to take that off. And I was like,
Wow.
You're like, but I'm easy.
Like, yeah, we got you. Take that off now. All right. You're like, oh, damn. Do you ever ask Superman to take his cape off? Like, what are we doing?
How much his wig
Like,
cost me?
Yeah.
it was
you know,
so dope.
You know they don't
Junker.
sell these Compton hats just anywhere. I had to get this stitched.
right? All it is to find a Compton hat in New
Yeah,
Orleans.
man. And you know I couldn't fly out here, so I just got CPT on there because I couldn't afford all the letters. So,
Kept it
they're
short.
ridiculous, you know.
Right. But
So
it was-
how do you
it was
find out
beautiful.
you have the role of Eazy-E in Straight Outta Compton?
You know, it was crazy because when they flew me out, I went to what they call a chemistry read, right? But I was the only Eazy-E. They had like 5 Dr. Dre's, 5 Ice Cubes, you know, but I was the only Eazy-E, right? So I'm like, the person who I'm going against has to be too big to be here.
Right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
Your
what I
mind is
mean.
thinking that.
Right? So they giving me like the sides and the script and all that I'm gonna have to go over with, you know, different groups of guys, right? So it's like different waves of guys coming in and I just gotta keep at it. So it's 3 days of this. So on the 3rd day, I'm like, so, I mean, what do you guys think? You know, how am I doing? They was like, oh, no, we wanted you to keep the fire. You already had the role. But we was like, what? And it was like, yeah, I mean, you know, you do a lot better when you think you still need it. I was like, really?
You don't want to be in there like you guys are still auditioning. I nailed it. You know what I'm saying? Like false feeding them. Like, yeah, hey Dre, what? You're not gonna get it anyway. What are now? Any of the like the chemistry reads? Was it anyone that made it to the movie that you did the chemistry with?
Absolutely.
Was Dre?
Absolutely.
Dre?
All of them people. All of them.
Wow.
And Ice Cube, like,
Did you do any with O'Shea?
yeah.
Okay.
And besides what people may think, like, he was the last person to be casted. You
Yeah,
know what I
man.
mean? Because Universal was just not going. It was like, we don't care if he's Ice Cube's son. We
Yeah,
don't care
yeah.
how much he looks like Ice
It
Cube.
was like Ice Cube can't even play
we
Ice
don't
Cube
care
right
about
now
his
either.
eyebrows.
Yeah.
Right. It was like he had to fight for that role.
Yeah,
He did
man.
an
He had to
amazing
earn
job
it.
as well.
That's what Cube told us. He had to earn
He
it.
definitely did. He
Yeah,
definitely
man.
did.
You said that you were already a big Eazy-E fan.
Yeah.
Prior to them getting this role, did you learn something new about Eazy afterwards?
You know, I think it was interesting for me to see somebody who knew so much about like marketing and how to, you know, like sort of play on the human mind, right? Because when you see him, you think gangster, you think drug dealer, you think all these things. But I mean, this is a guy who barely smoked weed.
Right, yeah,
You
man.
know what I'm saying? And it was like a trip to see like how clean of a person he was. You know what I mean? Like he just wasn't with the shenanigans. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like true enough, we all know like sex was kind of his thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But other
But
than
he has
that,
your
like,
vices?
yeah, you know, he was a real like he was good to himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was just surprised at that. You know, because you just don't see that a lot in the hood in general. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't see people who actually like, oh, okay, like it's one thing, like if your mama a crackhead, you're like, oh, I'm never gonna smoke crack.
Right,
You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
But,
yeah.
you
I'm
know,
not doing that.
Most of the time, people find their thing. You know what I mean? They smoke, they drink, they, you know, find their ways to cope through life. You know what I mean? And it was interesting to see somebody who was just such a clear mind.
How
know
do
what I
you
mean?
tap into Eazy-E though? Like, because when I watched you in Straight Outta Compton, you know, there was a posture.
Yes.
There was a walk.
Yes.
There was, you know, like I know Eazy, bro. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So how did you tap into that? Was there an acting coach? Was it homies too? Like,
Well, I mean, you know, first of all, homie, you got to tap into L.A.
Yeah, hello.
You got to tap into L.A. And you know, it's like you said, it's a posture, it's a walk, it's a talk, it's a lingo, it's all this, right? So in order to understand that, you got to understand the neighborhood. You know what I mean? So, you know, Universal wasn't all about helping me with it all the time.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, I mean, I went
Like, we're
there.
not
I've
driving
been
you
to
over
his
there.
grandmother's house.
Yeah.
I've been to the first place he ever recorded anything.
Wow.
I've been to like real hood, like Laylaw, right? There's a guy-
Yeah. What up, Laylaw?
Right, yeah, it's my
Hell
dog,
yeah.
it's my dog. But one day I came to my trailer and he was sitting in there already.
Yeah.
You know
He
what
was
I
sitting
mean?
in your
Yeah,
trailer.
I'm like,
Like, what's up?
Yeah.
nigga,
And if y'all don't know Laylaw, he stand up, you like, hey.
right, yeah.
All right, what's up,
How
Law?
you doing? Yeah, but he was one of the people who made sure I hit home.
Yeah,
You know what
gave
I mean?
you that
Who-
texture.
Exactly. Him, Dub C.
Yeah,
You know what
Dub.
I mean?
Dope.
People who let me know what it meant to stand a certain
Yeah.
way, to
Yeah.
have, you know what I mean, to have a penguin stand. So like, you know, like the
Penguin
different
stand.
ways, you know what I mean? Because it's all like, it was a culture that had to be sort of hidden from the police at one point in time. Well, still, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like if you know, like if you're 3 people outside, I think you can get patted down because you're officially a gang. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
man.
So the colors, the way the people stand, it was, you know, all different sort of ways to represent where you.
Did
were
you
from.
know any of that, like, before, like, Laylaw and Dub C before? Yeah. And
No, I didn't know none of it
Right.
because in New Orleans we don't have gangs. You know what I mean? So the whole concept of banging over colors was crazy to us. It was like, what do you mean? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
don't nobody want to get paid? You know? So
Yeah.
it was something that I felt like I really had to study. You know what I mean? And God bless his soul. But I mean, guys like Nipsey Hussle.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Problem was another one.
Yeah.
Game was another one. You know what I mean? Guys from LA who felt like they wanted LA to be represented
Yeah,
right.
and you know what
know
I
what I
love
mean?
about that, man? I spoke with Dub, and Dub wasn't like, Dubs, he wasn't like, man, this is what I did, this is what I did. I didn't know that problem, you know what I'm saying? Because these people were just making sure, Game, Problem, Nipsey,
Right.
they were making sure that it was just done right.
Authentic.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Without saying, this is what I did, you know?
Right.
And you never heard anyone speak ill about you. And I love that you took that time to dive into it. You know what I'm saying? As
Absolutely.
opposed to just showing up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
You did a
because-
wonderful job, Jason.
Thank you. It was funny because me and Lil Eazy had a conversation and he was like, you know, because like a lot of people were making a big deal like, oh, he didn't get the role. He gonna make
Yeah.
it Halloween for whoever gets the role. And I'm like, well, you know, I've never been to LA, so maybe I need to reach out, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So we have like this 3-hour conversation and he was like, after talking to you, I'm so happy that it's you who had the role. You know what I mean? Because if anybody gonna mess it up,
Yeah.
I feel like I should be the one to be able to mess it up. And that's
Right.
true. Like that's his daddy. That's his
Right.
legacy.
Right, yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the sort of the things that I looked at. You know what I mean? Like I believe Nipsey was up for the Snoop role at
Yeah,
one time.
man.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you know when you look at things like that, you know, like because I understand why they didn't do it. You know what I mean? Because you still like look at Nipsey playing Snoop. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I remember speaking with Nip about that, and he was like, he just didn't do it because he didn't want to be the guy that played Snoop. And he was building, you know,
His own brand.
his own brand
Yeah,
too. You know, what I
yeah.
mean? And that's got to be something that's a hell of an opportunity.
Yeah.
But it was so much comparison between Dog and Nip at that time too,
Right.
that you don't want to play Snoop Dogg, even though this big ass movie. It's no disrespect to anyone.
Right.
It's just that, you know, Dog didn't play somebody else.
Right.
You know, that
Right.
that we were dear
Yeah.
to. And
Exactly.
Dog got on and Dog did his thing.
Yeah.
And I can understand what Nip was talking about early on.
Right.
Yeah,
You know,
man.
and it felt good to like have guys trust me with that. You know,
Yeah.
but at the same time I knew, like I said, if I ain't do it right, I just don't show up in LA no more.
Right.
Or
right.
California.
Yeah.
Or
And
the
now
West
you're
Coast.
doing the Shy, and you got to worry about that too now.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
All the
Like,
cities.
All the problematic.
you don't have no Fresh Prince of Bel-Air 2020
Right.
coming?
You recently said on Twitter, rejection is the universe closing doors for something that is not meant for you.
Right.
Is there a role, now looking back, that you are thankful that you didn't get that we might know?
Man, they say you was up for that you turned down Black Panther.
Wow.
No, I'm just playing. He was
I'm
like,
about to say, really?
he was like, he was like, can I get that back?
You know what's crazy? Right before Straight Outta Compton, I pretty much auditioned for every big movie that was coming out around that time. And I was this close to getting Pitch Perfect.
Oh,
Damn.
Like it was me and
You
another
would have
guy,
been in the
right?
franchise.
You know what I mean? And Pitch Perfect is a great movie, but it's just not me.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? And I ain't gonna lie, I legit cried. You know what I mean?
At that
Because I
moment.
wanted it. I
Yeah,
wanted it
yeah.
so bad. I was like, man, I just want something for me. And then 2 months later, straight out of Compton.
Yeah, and that was yours.
Exactly.
That
you
was
know what I mean?
yours,
Like
man.
it couldn't have been more mine.
And what was the tweet again?
Rejection is the universe closing doors for something that is not meant for you.
I heard
yeah,
that.
because so many people look at what other people have and they just be like, I wish.
I
But
want
what's
that.
for you is gonna be for you.
How
know what
did
I
you
mean?
get into acting, Jason?
Trying to find new friends.
Really though?
Yeah, man, I was into the wrong stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just Katrina hit, and I didn't go to school. You know what I mean? Sally Mae was kicking everybody ass. I'm like, man, I don't need to be a part of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I want to do something that feels real to me, right? But in the process, I just got caught up in the shuffle.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
you
Before I
had to
knew it, I
live,
was
right?
just a cook. You know what I mean? And I was like, I just didn't feel comfortable. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
in my own.
Did
skin
you
and in
always
my
know
own
you can
world.
act? Was it early on, like the
You know-
acting bug, plays, school, whatever?
I did a couple things like early in grade school, but you know, like growing up in a tough city, doing things like acting or
Right.
you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
it's not prominent. It's not there.
Hey, Shakespeare.
right?
Yeah.
Hey, cuz, what you talking about, man? He's
Yeah.
like, we're
Got them
not doing
acting
it,
books,
right?
yeah.
And then the school that I went to, I mean, I had PE 4. You know what I mean? Like we didn't have wood shop, we didn't have lockers, we didn't. You know what I mean? They just didn't care that much,
Right.
and I just never got to express myself like that, you know? So like here I am, 23 years old. I hear this random just ad on the radio about this random workshop,
Wow.
right? Just coming to New Orleans. And I'm like, you know what? They probably got some nice looking females in here. You know what I'm saying? Some guys
Might
who
as
I ain't
well.
into what I'm into. You know what I mean? Let me
Yeah.
just go check it out. So I go, and at first I was kind of terrible. Not gonna lie. You know what I mean? But she was like, you got something just special about you. Shout out to Jacqueline Fleming, right? Because she was the person who told me this. She was like, you got something really special about you. And the whole time I'm just like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For $800, I'd probably tell me this too.
Right, yeah. Oh, so you had to pay
Cool.
for that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Definitely had to pay for it. But it was like somewhere I could go 3 times out of a week for 3 hours out of that day, be somebody different, live
Yeah.
a different life on a different side of town, and just be chill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I say maybe like 5 weeks into this 8-week class, they had a lady named Tasha Smith come to the class, and she was just chilling, you know what I mean, watching everybody do their scene work and stuff like that. So they had me and a guy did a scene in a group after us, right? And she was like, wait, I need everything to stop. I need y'all to take this serious because this could change your life. Like this young man, his life is about to change. And I was like,
She was talking about you?
Yeah,
She
and I was
chose
like, me? She was like, yes, I'm
She was like,
signing you
the
today.
police are outside.
You're like, oh,
Yeah,
that's what I
man.
was
And she
expecting.
just signed
Was
me
selling
that
cocaine
day.
with
Wow.
oyster,
awesome.
inside of an oyster?
They called me.
But she said, I'm signing you.
Yep, signed me that day.
When you look back at that in the rearview mirror, did it seem like that was just such a small place? Like, who comes here? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I was one of 8 students. You know what I mean? It just felt like it was supposed to happen.
It was
Right.
meant to be.
That was about me. In
And
that
so she
situation.
said
That's
his
how I
life
felt.
is about to change.
What about the rest
I'm
of them?
signing them, yeah.
Right. I was like, sorry,
Then other
y'all.
people when they're
It ain't your time.
Yeah, right.
It
He was
ain't your
like,
time.
see my tweet in about 7 years.
Catch me on the big screen.
Y'all understand.
Just remember, when he slams the door in your face, just remember it wasn't for y'all.
You know what I'm saying? That's not your door. You know what I'm saying? That's my door closing on you. All right. I don't have a car. Can I roll with you? All right. So how did you? Why did you believe in her?
Because she believed in me.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, it's no secret that I used to do my thing. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
used to be in the streets like everybody else. And one day I skipped acting class, right? So, because I was like,
Yeah.
it's just class. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
I
Let
didn't
me
see
go run these
myself
streets.
being an actor. You know
Right?
what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I'm like walking home, and
like
she's
your walk.
like,
Yeah.
Jason, why weren't you in class? And I'm like, wait, what you doing in Holly Grove looking for me?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She was
Yeah.
like, you could be actually somebody. You can do this. You don't need to be out here doing this. And she was just like crying and the whole thing. And you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
she just really cared about me. more than I cared about myself at the time.
Wow, she saw it when you didn't see all of it. She saw it clear,
Right.
and it was still probably a little blurry to you.
Right, because I was like, I never actually saw myself becoming an actor. It would just seem so far-fetched. I had never met an actor, never heard of anybody around me doing it. I mean, Wendell Pierce, we seen Wendell. You know what I mean? And he does a lot for the city, so shout out to Wendell and Anthony Mackie. But other than that,
Yeah.
it's a mystery. You know what I'm saying?
It's not like Atlanta music where you name it.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or you can't even name a facility that puts out that type of work. You know what I mean? Like Anthony Mackie, he still went to Juilliard. You know what I mean? So he's still a New York actor.
You know
what
I
mean?
did Juilliard.
Did you?
Yeah, man.
How was that?
It was cool. It was cool. I was only there for a little, not Juilliard, a Juilliard. yeah, Juilliard, man. You got
That backyard play we had there.
Yeah, it was a little thing we used to do at her house, man. So yeah, I did Juilliard.
Her
You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I tapped into my acting as well.
You get it,
know?
Dave. You're a good actor, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You know what I'm
Your
saying? I act
IMDb.
like I love you every day. All righty, and you. I love you, Daniel. All righty, y'all stick around, y'all radios. We got you, and you too, Ani. Y'all stick around, y'all, and you too, Natalia and I, Dave.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
And you
Love
too.
you.
To your publicist as well, who introduced herself.
Shout out.
Yeah, The Shy season 2 is going down Sunday nights. Make sure you guys check out
Check it out.
the best show. I don't even want to say one of the best scripted show in.
You hear me?
You love this show,
I love
babe.
you giving that look.
I love it. The
Big-
only
Big
thing
loves
is,
this show.
it,
Oh, yes, he
it,
did.
it takes too long for a season to come back. You know how you guys are on like
took
Game
so
of Thrones,
Yeah, 2
and or
years to
people
come
wait
back.
for something. This is like I was really see Lena, and I'd be like, "Hey, why
You
are you
gonna
at
go
this
back?
concert?
What's that?
Right.
Get back
Go
home.
do the
Go
You
shot.
should
right.
be doing something.
Yeah, you should be doing The Shy right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yo, it's so crazy because I've had people legit walk up to me and be like, "So I watched the first couple of episodes. I love it, but I think I'm gonna just wait till like season 5 and go back because I can't wait. I can't
Oh,
wait. I
yeah.
can't do this.
Oh,
I can't do this.
girls.
Y'all got me going crazy.
it
I can't
hurts
do
your
this."
soul going week to week.
It really does.
It does, man. I remember the first time I saw The Shy, Jason. It came on, and they had like this early episode.
yeah.
And I remember when I saw the early episode, I told my wife, I was like, sit down and watch this.
Right.
And then we sat down and watched it. And then she was like, oh, and then I was like, I don't think it come on till like 2 months from now.
right.
So I sat down. I remember I had family day at my house, and I told my family, I said, sit down and watch this. And the whole family was like,
That's dope.
and from there on,
That's dope.
hooked. And I can't watch it DVR.
Yeah.
I gotta watch it the night
It comes out.
of.
That's
the
dope.
night that it comes on.
Thank
and
you.
then we'll go back and start breaking things. But I gotta watch. I don't want nobody saying nothing. I don't even want to. Did you see tonight?
Right.
I don't even want that. Did you see it last night? Because then I know something going down.
Right.
I do want to ask you, Jason, what was your relationship with Nipsey Hussle? We lost a good brother, man.
Yeah, we did. I had to take a moment of silence on that. Nipsey, man, he was the type of like, all right, I met him at Dre's studio, right? While Dre was doing the Compton album, because like while shooting the film, Dre just got up and was like, I think I'm gonna go do an album.
Yeah.
Right. And that was kind of like the last time we saw him on set. He was like every day just grinding, right? So he had like a bunch of people coming through. And when I met Nipsey, he was so excited. He was so excited because he had already seen a couple of the scenes. You know what I mean? Like Dre was showing
Yeah.
everybody.
Right.
So he was so excited, and I kind of felt the same way. I'm like, bro, you Nipsey. You know what I mean? But he was like such a down-to-earth person. It had so many good things to say and so much good energy to throw out. You know what I mean? Which is different when you think, oh, this guy used to be a gangbanger, or he is, or whatever it may be. You know what I mean? Like, he was just a lot different than what I expected. So immediately I sort of just took to him. You know what I mean? So every time I came out to LA, it was either him that I was reaching out to or Game. You know what I mean?
Oh,
or
yeah,
Dre.
yeah.
You know, be like, yeah, just come through. But Nipsey was, man, he was just one of those guys, that was just special in his own skin.
Yeah, man. And you know what? That's what I tell people. We echo the same thing. It may sound repetitious when we say humble, cool, hard worker, thinking outside the box. There's so many words to describe brother, man. And Nipsey is also one of those you remember. Like I remember where I was at, and I'll forever remember where I was at when I first heard that he got shot. I remember where, do you
Yeah.
remember where you were at when you heard the news, Jason, about Nipsey?
Absolutely. Because actually his publicist was my publicist at that point in time. And she knew that me and him had a relationship or whatever. And I reached out to her when I forget exactly. No, matter of fact, somebody DM'd me and was like, "Yo, they just got Nipsey," and I'm like, "What you mean they got him? Like he in jail? Like what you mean they got him?"
Yeah.
And they was like, "Nah, he got shot." I was like, "What?" And they was like, "Yeah, he got hit 6 times." I was like, "But he ain't dead. I mean, Nipsey can't die,
Right.
right?" And then it was like he got hit in the head. I was like, "No." I was staying right here at the London Hotel.
Oh, so you were in L.A.
I was in LA. And then I called his publicist. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, if anybody gonna know, she gonna know. And she was actually just leaving the hospital. She was like, he gone.
Damn.
Yeah. So like before it even hit the news,
Yeah,
and
man.
all of that, like, you know what I mean? And it was just, I don't know. I still like I cried legit hard tears, like loud. Like I was just like, man, I can't believe this. You know what I mean? Because I feel played that like people don't think past go. As black people, we got enough to fight for it, period. You know what I mean? As oppressed people, we have enough to fight for it. But like our pride and joy, one of our flags, you gonna take it down and burn it? Like,
Yeah.
really? You know what I mean? Like it just didn't feel real. Like how could somebody do this to all of us? Do this to LA, do this to his family, do this to his kids,
To the
do this
world.
to the world, for everything he's worked for. You know what I mean? Like Nipsey, he was a stand-up guy.
Yeah,
you know what
man.
I mean? And it'd be different if you were one of those people who kind of like brought that on yourself a little bit. You know what I mean?
He definitely wasn't I knew it or I felt like, he wasn't one of those.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
it was just like, what? Like, no, they got this wrong.
Yeah,
That's how
man.
it felt.
And you were also speaking up on Nipsey Hussle Square, the advocate for the boulevard or anything like that?
Well, I have my feelings and beliefs about all of this, right? But I do think that it's time now, more than any time, that people in my position or with big platforms really start speaking out on what the situation actually is and what the problem actually is. Like I told y'all with this hat, right? It's one thing to go bash Gucci. It's another thing to wear a black designer. It's that simple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's one thing to have a disagreement with somebody. It's one thing to not like something somebody tells you. But it's a whole entirely different thing when you go and you take a man's life and somebody who
Somebody's
stood for
father.
something. Exactly.
man.
You know what I mean? Like we have to know when to put up a fortress. We have to know when to put up a wall. You know what I mean? We got to know when to be Wakanda.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like I'm not gonna let people feel like it's okay for us to have a memorial for Nipsey and 4 people get shot. I'm not gonna make you feel like that's okay. I don't care what you think you justifying. You know what I'm saying? Like the retaliation, we gotta learn that that's not the answer. You know what I mean? Like that's foolish. You know what I mean? And it pisses me off because I see people always be like, oh, white people are holding us back and we're so oppressed and all these things, right? But you're not gonna do that to them. You're gonna let them march through your neighborhood and you're gonna tear it down. You're gonna burn your neighborhood. You're gonna burn where you live. You're gonna take all of the opportunities from yourself. It makes no sense to me. You know what I mean? But instead of going to argue and be like, hey, because I don't feel like that helps. What helps is us leading by example.
Yeah, and that's what Nip did.
Exactly.
And that's why we say the marathon continues,
Exactly.
bro. You know what I'm saying? He had a mission that he was doing and he gave us a mission to complete, to see through. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And I don't even know what completion is, but to continue working on.
Right.
The marathon continues, man. And I really thank you for those words as well because that's our brother too. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Mudbound was so good. You were so remarkable in it. That movie, I was crying so much. And I really love that we are now getting more and more movies that are streaming, premiering on things like Netflix and Hulu. But then when you have someone come out like Steven Spielberg and say, I'm going to do what I can to make sure that these movies that are on these streaming networks don't get the praise that they should, like in Oscars and getting nominations, how does that make you feel being in a movie like Mudbound that like really propelled a lot of, you know, these streaming networks getting these movies.
Almost honored. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because I mean, when you got that kind of shade,
Like that
being
work is
thrown,
so good.
right? You know what I mean? When you got that kind of shade being thrown, it's crazy. Because the beautiful thing about Netflix, right, is we all know that your work will be bootlegged. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody knows this. Like your work will get out there and it will be bootlegged. But if the work can get to the person the way that we wanted it to get to them, you know what I mean? If you can get it in the right quality, the right sound, all that, our work is done.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because money and all that stuff is great. You know what I mean? Awards, all that's great. But the fact that this happens, Jason, Mudbound,
Yeah.
remarkable.
It's so,
You know what I mean? That's my trophy. That's all I need. You know
How
what
do
I'm
you
saying?
tap in like that, bro? Because when I see you work, it don't look like you acting. You know what I'm saying? Like it look believable. Like I don't look and say, "Oh, that's Brandon."
Right.
Oh, that's
right,
easy.
right.
Oh, you know what I'm saying? Like
Whoever
like,
you're playing,
Yeah,
that role.
like how do you tap in like that?
No fear.
What are you
Just
crying
being
about?
fearless. About everything I never cried about.
No.
You know what I
Gotcha.
mean? Because so
Letting it
much,
out.
like, yeah, we just try to be tough. And we don't know that it's super therapeutic to cry at times. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm a crybaby.
right? And you notice, like, when
But
you
on
cry.
cue, where it's like, you know, and action, like that's a whole.
Yo, it's so funny because, like,
I used to get my brothers in trouble like that.
You know
I
how
was
to
the only
cry?
girl. I was the only girl, so I was like, oh.
You still do that in here
I knew
against
that.
Louis?
Big lip.
it was so funny because I was working with one of the actors who plays the cop, Armando, on The Shy, right? So they have a scene. I can't really give it away, but
Please don't.
he gives me some news.
God
and we
damn,
have a
you
moment.
said too much already.
You said, don't give it up.
But yeah, it's like, you know, it gets emotional, right? But you know, we do several takes, several angles, all this. So
And you got to bring it every time.
exactly,
It's not like it's one on and you're like, we got to use that one.
It must be
But some actors-
exhausting.
I done dried up.
Some actors know how to cheat it. You know what I
Right.
mean? They know exactly when to use like the menthol, and they know exactly when to use the teardrops, and
Right.
they know when to save the real performance. You know what I mean? But me, I'm like, I think it's more about the other actor. You know what I mean? Like I care about that person. You know what I mean? So if the camera's not on me, I'm still gonna cry.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I'm that guy. So like he peeks up at me and goes, 7 for 7. I'm like, what are you talking about? He was like, same eye, same tear. 7 for 7. But who's counting? You know what I mean?
You're like, you noticed that? Thank you. I appreciate that.
Right, yeah. but
And,
who's
then the homies, you know how everybody always knew that you was gonna be this guy and put you on like, yeah, man, you used to cry back then, man. We used to always tell him, like, man, you need to cry in the movie, man. Matter of fact, I'm gonna tell him, man, put these oysters down, homie. Bro, you know what I'm
the
saying?
best was the game.
Oh, really though?
Yeah, you know, he's super swole, super like, you know what I mean? So he goes, what's happening?
Yeah.
Am I crying? Like,
Yeah.
it was crazy. When I first met Snoop, tears in his eyes.
Really?
Tears in his eyes. Because he was like, yo, I never got to, you know, me and Eazy had a lot of beef, and we never really got to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, really be on the same wave. So to be able to see things from his point of view and all this, he was just pouring his heart out, just tears running down his
Yeah.
face, though. I was just
Wow.
like,
But that's
this is a
how
trip.
well you played that too. And I remember talking with Ice Cube. Ice Cube was like, man, we had to get somebody that knew how to do the Eazy-E. You right here in the Eazy-E scene. And we know the scene that he was talking about. And it was, you know, Eazy-E hearing that he had, you know, he had AIDS.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And bringing that to life. Like,
Yeah.
we knew it, we heard it, we saw the results of, you know, Eazy passing,
Right.
but we didn't see somebody being told that.
Right.
And somebody in the hospital. So
Right.
when we saw that, it was like we were watching Eazy-E.
Yo, when I read
Yeah.
the script, I was so happy that was in there, right? Because I was thinking to myself, when do I get to unpeel my onion? When do I really get
Yeah.
to show the world like what I'm working with, right? And I knew that was such a great moment. Matter of fact, it was such a great moment that like because all the stuff that we had to shoot in the hospital was like super hard stuff. You know what I mean? Me in the hospital, the DOC in the hospital. So to like kind of do a little play on words. They called it the Easy Week because everything was hard, but it was mostly about Easy and mostly about the hospital, right? So Gary comes to me and he's like, "So Easy Week's coming up, and I just wanted to know what you had in mind. Like, what are you gonna do?" I said, "Gary, I can't show you this. You know what I mean? Like, I can't do this right now. Like, I have other things to do today. You know what I mean? I can't go through that process like right now." And he was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Just know that when I do it, it's gonna be hard to turn off."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that.
And we did 4 takes. And if anybody knows F. Gary Gray, I'm talking about 4 takes is because he does like 34 takes.
Right.
He don't be playing. You know what I mean? Like, we
Like,
would
you gonna
do
do this
one
again
scene
and again.
all day. Like that studio scene all day and the next day. He was not playing. Until we get what we want, we are gonna shoot this, right? So when I realized that, like, I had that sort of opportunity, I was super happy about it, So I'm in there, I'm doing my thing, but it wouldn't turn off. You know what I mean? So Gary came in there and just held me, and we cried together like for a minute. You know what I mean? And I was telling him, I'm like, it's tough. You know what I mean? Like, I've been fighting my whole life to get to this moment. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy. And if you don't let the tears out, then what? What does the moment mean then?
Did you see it with an audience?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. And
Did you see it in Los Angeles?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. And
How did it feel to hear the audience
y'all gonna make
reaction?
me cry right
Yeah, man. But I don't know if I'm gonna believe
Right.
you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Saving this, right?
yeah, you know.
Fake ass
Like, what is, I mean,
You can have it.
I can sit here and be like
don't
this. You
need
be like,
it.
pink pen, pink pen, man.
Making me cry.
Oh, man.
7 for 7. We know your tricks.
Big when you held up that pink pen. I'm like, yeah, we all gotta be in there for real, Louis. Like, trying to outcry him.
Jason, now that your career is taken off and you're doing an amazing job, what else would you like to see yourself doing?
And that's Ide right there speaking to you. I know her voice sound deep, and you thought it was me.
You're like, who's that man speaking? Stop.
I would like
You
to
know.
start like producing my own stuff. You know what I mean? And writing. I mean, Jordan Peele is a good friend of mine, and I think it was like he's taking the right steps because every time I hear like, "Oh, it's a black movie," it kind of makes me feel some kind of way.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
We don't say, "Hey, you see that white movie
Right.
coming out?"
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, it's a white movie, so I don't know if everybody's gonna like it. It might
Right.
need to grow legs. You know what I mean? Like, what? What are we talking about right now?
It's on
So-
3,000 screens.
Yeah, and I think Jordan Peele took the right approach because even though he does make, conscious thoughts in his films, his agenda is to make a horror film.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just sort of break the plane with that. Like, we don't have very many black movies, right?
Right.
That are horror films. You know what I mean? Like, so it was dope to me to see somebody just say, you know what? I'm not going to have that conversation. I'm just going to make horror films
Yeah.
with black people in them.
Right.
Period.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Like, that's just simple. And I'm kind of like on the same type of time. You know what I mean? Like, they have a lot of people who I'm really fond of. You know what I mean? DC Young Fly,
Yeah.
Ha Davis,
Yes, sir.
Just Hilarious.
So you're making a comedy movie? or
Jasmine
something.
Brown.
Yeah.
But you never know because comedy it's a way to cope with life. You know what I mean?
You sound like you're working on something already.
Right.
I'm,
that you
I'm
can't
trying.
talk
I be
about.
cooking all the
Yeah.
time.
As you should.
I know you were
Always
you're a
cook.
chef on The Shy.
He's like, my oysters are spinning.
Exactly. My pearls.
Chicken oysters right now. Yeah.
Trying to
Give me
pull
some
these
Parmesan
pearls out.
cheese. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm definitely like when I look at the way people look at me, sometimes I'm tripped out. You know what I mean? But it also reminds me that I have this sort of responsibility. You know what I mean? To not drop the ball and to take it to the next level. You know what I'm saying? And like I was saying about comedy, I think comedy is a way people really cope with life. And most comics, like Tiffany Haddish, you know what I mean? Like dear friend of mine, but has been through hell and high water.
Yeah,
You know what I
man.
mean? And the only way to get through it is to sort of just laugh your way through
And
it.
I love how people think, oh, it's an overnight success. I tell them it's a long ass night.
Oh,
then.
yeah.
It was a long ass night. Like, oh, she on. Like, do you know what it
She's
takes
been
to
through.
get there?
Exactly. And my thing is, those people with that beautiful thing, because I've been a funny guy my whole life. You know what I mean? I like to laugh my way through life too. But when it came time for me to tap into whatever that was, to cry, it was built up. It was something that was, already there. So, these guys who and gals who are great comedians and make us laugh, they probably got something balled up in the inside of them that could be really beautiful and come out. You know what I mean? So that's my hope.
Jason, you have 2 daughters?
Yes.
What kind of dad is Jason Mitchell? Do they know who dad is, first off? Like, do they know what dad does?
They found out when I did the MTV Awards because
that's when.
Yeah. It was
It was something they wanted.
Well, it was the first time I had been on TV and dressed like myself. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they called my job getting on the airplane, right? So they're like, "So, Daddy, when you get on the airplane, you go inside the TV?" I'm like,
I love it.
something like that, right? So when I went to do the show, it wasn't live, so I got to come home and watch it with my kids, and it was like, "Oh, that's my daddy!" Like, I get it, I get it. Yeah, because at first they were so unimpressed. Like, they could put themselves on TV on an iPad or whatever. So they're like, "We don't
put on the
care
Shy
that
and be
you
like,
dressed up like somebody else."
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
You playing dress up.
So what?
Yeah, kids think they got money trees in the backyard.
Yeah.
Dad,
Not knowing exactly what you do. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I got to tell my kids. My son is 12, my daughter's 10, and I told them years ago. I said, go over there. I said, flip on that light. The lights came. I said, the lights come on? They was like, yeah. I was like, all right, that's what daddy does.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. And then,
Exactly.
there's a grind. Like, my kids, they want to eat. And thank God I can feed them.
Right.
But they want to eat every day.
Right, exactly.
And then sometimes they want to eat like 2-3 times a day.
Right. I'm gonna have to start putting y'all to work.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
For real.
Yeah, man.
Game.
Are the kids in Atlanta, Georgia? They in Georgia as
They
well?
in New Orleans.
I heard that.
They in New Orleans. Yeah, that's where I got the most family. And it's good. It's good for them to be around family.
Yeah,
be around real stuff.
I heard
you know what
that.
I mean?
Get some texture and some tone.
Yeah.
And while you working, let the village raise them too.
Exactly.
Yeah, you gotta have your family around family.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Because I need the same upbringing I had.
Yeah, man.
The lady down the street will whoop you and then bring you home and be like, I had to whoop your son.
Not so much. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but you do want them to have some of it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like we were evicted a lot. I don't want my kids to be like, hey, Dad, what happened? You know,
Right.
We evicted, like, Dad, don't you go to work every day?
Right.
No, go ahead, Natalia.
I was going to say, what do they want to be when they get older? Has any of them interested in acting as well?
Do you see it?
It's crazy because my oldest daughter, Royce, she really...
And she's 6?
Yeah,
Okay.
she really loves, to design clothes.
Wow.
And it's a trip, right? Because I feel like every kid goes through, that stage where, they
phase.
won't take this costume off.
Right.
Right? So, she kind of went through that. Her and her sister, they went through that Frozen. You know what I mean? They iron
Let it
Elsa
go.
all day. Exactly.
Yeah.
No matter what, they just can't let it go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
They should, but they don't.
Exactly. So, my daughter came to my condo, I'd say maybe a year after she left this jacket. So she obviously outgrew the jacket, right? But it was kind of like the costume. She just loved this jacket when she had it. So she put the jacket on and it was short sleeved.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched her process the whole thing, right? So she was like, too small. Okay, so she goes in the room, gets a long sleeve polka dot thing, puts it on underneath, wears the jacket on top. And she's like, okay. She's
good.
feeling a whole, you know what I mean?
Problem solved.
And when she put the whole thing together, I'm like, well, you got the juice. You know what I mean? We really swagging it. It's crazy. You know
And so
what I
that
mean?
Percival, that's her company?
Yeah.
Don't you keep pulling out the look card on?
Yeah,
Exactly. I don't want to tell
We
y'all,
know
man,
it all
but
now.
yeah.
Y'all
That's
support
really my daughter.
now.
Yeah,
Buy
man.
her
She the one who
clothes.
put the Rolex band on the hat.
Right.
It's a vision. We got to keep it going.
Yeah,
you
it's
know
a
what I'm saying?
trip. And then my youngest daughter, she is so much like me. You know what I mean? 1 year old, she played that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You got me, Dad.
Yeah, she loves to dance and she's cartwheeling all over the place.
And how old is she now?
She's 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think, is it hard being a father to 2 daughters?
It's really not. Everybody's like, oh, they're gonna be your karma. We knew you was a player.
Right.
You know, all these things, right? But it's they're so easy to love. You know what I mean? And me giving them that love, I think makes me easy to love for them. You know
Right.
what I
Yeah.
mean? And then on the top of that, you know what I mean? They can eat 3 times a day and have life.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
So they, they love
And their
it.
father can go back to whatever, mentality and continue to protect them. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So don't even
yeah.
try it.
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
No,
That's what
the
he says.
Shy Showtime Sunday nights, man. Make sure you guys check it out.
Check
10
it out.
p.m. and check your local satellite and cable providers. You know what I'm saying? I like saying that sometimes. It sounds official. But no, Jason Mitchell, thank you for coming into the
Thank
neighborhood,
you.
man.
Thank you.
We
Such a
had
pleasure.
a great time with you, brother. And like I say, I really respect you as a person, and I respect your work, man. And I love the road that you took to get here. You know what I'm saying? And for those, if y'all ever seen him without his shirt on, he has a lot of tattoos and there's a lot of journey on there.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he got
definitely.
pictures of like oysters and you know what I'm saying? Like
types of different oysters.
acting classes and you know what I'm saying?
And I just want to throw this out there to you, right? As a guy who I definitely admire, you know what I mean, for a numerous amount of reasons, right? But every time I see you in public, you give me the same energy and you remind me to keep going. Like, it's not about anybody else. It's not about the show. It's about you letting me know that what I'm doing is positive and that you back that.
Yeah, I love it, man.
So in front of the world,
Right,
I
yes,
just want
sir.
to say I appreciate that.
Thank
you know what I
you,
mean?
bro.
Because,
Beautiful.
you know, some
That's
people
love.
do it for the ground.
Right, yeah, man.
Not big boy.
But let me tell
Not
you
in
what
this
I love
neighborhood.
about this, man. and
Authenticity.
just showing his skills as well. I literally gave him that card before he came in, and he nailed
So
it.
good.
Stop it.
I was like, man, say this,
One
say
take.
that. One take. You know, I was wondering when you were going to do it. I was like, dude, we've been sitting here, and he
I thought
hasn't
he was
delivered his
gonna do
lines
the first
yet. Yeah, right.
Save the
No,
best
but
for
Jason
last.
Mitchell, we love you, my brother.
I love you
and
back,
blessings
man.
to you, man.
Yeah.
There it
Thank
is
you,
right
bro.
there, man.
Thank you.
Jason Mitchell in the neighborhood, Big Boy's
Big
neighborhood.
Boy.
Hey.